Anda menyaksikan spesial dialog Syariah Economic Forum yang membedah ekonomi keuangan syariah dalam 10 tahun terakhir, khususnya dari sektor perasuransian, bersama saya, Andi Shalini. Dan untuk mengetahui peranan asuransi syariah untuk peningkatan ekonomi dan keuangan syariah di Indonesia, saat ini sudah bergabung bersama kami di studio CNBC Indonesia, Presiden Direktur PT Prudential Syariah Life Assurance atau Prudential Syariah, Iskandar Ezzahuddin. Hello, Mr. Iskandar. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Thank you for joining us in Ekonomi Syariah
Thanks for having me.
Indonesia. So, Iskandar, how is your view, particularly Prudential Syariah, view the trends in Islamic economic and also financial development over the last 10 years? And additionally, what is the role of Islamic insurance in Indonesia's economy?
Thanks, Asa. I think, if I were to rewind myself in the last 20 years, I was here as the young brand manager at that point of time. And I very immediately see that in Indonesia at that point of time, the number of people who were wearing hijab was not that many compared to the country that I was from. And this was about 20 years ago. But you fast forward that today, I think things are very different. If you go to the mall today, I think you see a lot more people wearing hijab. I think more and more Indonesians are choosing Sharia-compliant products as a basis of how they make purchase decisions. You can see this in food, you can see this in cosmetics, you can see this in fashion, and of course banking. So Sharia banking has started for quite a number of years in Indonesia, and now, of course, recently Sharia insurance as well. Sharia insurance today is still pretty small, making up about 11% of the overall industry. However, if we look at the growth for Sharia insurance in the last 7 years, it has grown significantly, double digits. Now, for PSLA, Prudential Syariah specifically, we are already seeing that the Sharia APE is already contributing more than 20% of the total Prudential Indonesia APE.
Okay. With the exponential increase over the last 10 years, how does Prudential Syariah view of the resilience of the Sharia insurance industry and its ability to continue growing in Indonesia? And what are the factors that could support this growth?
Yeah, so, it's definitely not a fad, right? So if you look at the demography, it's a huge Muslim population, 90% of 280 million. It's relatively young, so it's definitely something that will stay. I think from a point of view of the industry, Sharia insurance players need to evolve. We need to move from typically mirroring what we are doing in conventional and transplanting that into Sharia, but rather focus on the unique needs of the Sharia segment. And that's what we're doing in PSLA. So we're continuously working on coming up with new Sharia proposition for our products. I think also if we look at another catalyst of growth, the regulatory environment has also been very conducive for the Sharia insurance. So I think regulation around mandating the spin-off for Sharia players, I think is extremely important because a spin-off will enable companies to have dedicated focus on building the Sharia business, right? So that the products can be more focused towards the customer needs and resources can be allocated accordingly. And that's why for Prudential Syariah, we are happy to be the first company to spin off in Indonesia.
Well, speaking of spin-off, in the 3 years since the spin-off in March 2022, so what are the innovations and also breakthrough have Prudential Syariah achieved?
Yeah, so I think one of the key advantage of having a spin-off is that you have a dedicated team of people that is looking to build the business from ground up. So you have original thinkers. Right, so for example, what we did in PSLA is we built a Sharia-focused agency force. That means we've inculcated a new Sharia way of selling. We came up with what we call a Sharia leaders community, enabling a lot of the agents or leaders in the Sharia insurance industry to come and exchange of ideas. The other thing also, having a spin-off entity will allow for unique partnership opportunities. So we are, for example, working closely with Islamic organizations to drive a lot of financial literacy projects with them. I would say, I guess the third one is also the ability for us to be extremely focused on the unique customer needs, right? So we are able to come up with unique Sharia proposition and features that involves things like, for example, wakaf or inheritance.
So what do you think about the customer needs in Indonesia that should be optimized?
Yeah, so I think it's an important question, right? Because the insurance industry for a long time has been focused on investment products. And investment products typically has its place, particularly a bit more affluent. But if you're looking at a country like Indonesia, where the penetration is still very low, the strategy has to be, how do we penetrate the mass segment? And in this area, I think it's important for us to understand that as an industry, we need to move towards more protection or traditional-based products. And that's what we're doing in Prudential Syariah today. So we are focused a lot more on traditional products. So for example, 4 years ago, we were one of the earliest in the industry to launch a product, what we call Prucinta, which is a traditional product, which is until today still selling pretty well. I think we also introduced quite a number of new first-time products as well when it comes to traditional products. So for example, we recently also introduced PruWell medical Sharia product, which is a standalone traditional medical products with a little bit of unique features. So for example, the product is based on your risk profile. So the healthier you are, there's potential for you to pay lower premiums. And also it gives access to over 300 of our Pru priority hospitals, totally cashless, right? We also have a product called Pru Anugrah, which is a traditional product that's based on a death benefit, and you also get a return of contribution, right? We also have a education endowment product called Pru Cerah in the market. So essentially, if anything happens to the breadwinner, the beneficiary can withdraw money for the person's education. So in the market, I believe Prudential Syariah has the most complete suite of Sharia products. But we are not satisfied. We are also coming up with new products also. So in a couple of days, I think we will be announcing another new product from Prudential Syariah.
Okay, so what are the new upcoming products that Prudential Syariah will release?
Well, I think for now we won't be able to share that. But it will be around health and critical illness. So these are, I think, where we find the most demand for our products today from our customers, and that's where we're going to be looking at. But stay tuned. In a couple of weeks, we will announce a bit more on that.
Right. So what protection products are currently available, and what are Prudential Syariah flagship offerings? Are there any plans to introduce new projects?
Yeah, so I think it's important that we continuously focus on traditional products. And as I mentioned earlier, I think if we're going to penetrate the mass segment, the focus has to be in coming up with more protection-based rather than investment-based. Number two, the focus is also to be around making products as affordable as possible. And also coming up with new Sharia proposition, right? So there are quite a number of things that we're working on, but I believe my team will not allow me to mention more until it's out there in the market.
Well,